Welcome back. Now that we have this new document, we need to go ahead and save it someplace where we're going to remember where it is. So we're going to go ahead and save this as Chapter 1 Outline. So now that we have this saved as Chapter 1 Outline, we're going to change the view in Microsoft Word, and now we're going to go to Outline Mode. And what we basically want to see is we want to see each sentence or each potential slide onto or connected to one of the side dots here, and this is automatically happen once we change it to the outline view. So once again, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to save this document as it is. And now that we've done that, we can go ahead and close our outline, and we can then open up Microsoft PowerPoint. And what we're going to do when we get inside of Microsoft PowerPoint is we are then going to go into the View command, and then we're going to go to the Slide Master. And then we're going to scroll all the way up to the top. And when we get here, what we're going to do is we're going to pull this title slide all the way down to the middle. And we can actually get rid of this piece. Once we've done that, then we are then going to go back to our View command, and then we're going to go to the normal view. And what we're going to do now is we're going to import our slides. In order to do that, we're going to go to the new slide, we're going to click the arrow, and then we're going to pick up slides from outline. We're then going to go and find our slides from our outline. And we'll see that here, and we'll just click insert. What you'll see now is that Microsoft PowerPoint has opened up each of those outline points onto its own slide. And so now we have our script ready in order to be narrated. Of course, what we'll want to do is we'll want to go ahead and add in our call to action here at the end. But we now have our slides ready to be worked with inside of both our video creation software, as well as to pick our keywords and everything else that we need to do with the actual script. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to take a look at the MP3 audio, and in particular, what we will want to do is we want to turn these MP3s into animated video. However, you could run into a situation where you don't have the transcript and you don't necessarily have a script. So if that's the case, what can you do? This is actually going to be a case where it's going to be helpful to have your video editor. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull one of these MP3 audios into the media bin. So we're going to open up our video editor, and what we're going to do is we're going to drag this onto the timeline. Now, one of the things that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to decide on scenes. We're going to need to decide on where those scenes are going to occur. And one of the ways that you can do this inside of Camtasia is to use markers. We're going to turn on the marker view. And what we're going to do is at the point at which we want to determine that a scene has occurred, we're going to mark that place on the timeline. So we're just going to start the player right now.
There's a big misconception among many young people, especially those coming out of college.
Okay, so let's say that what we want to do there is we want to make this a marker. So we want to make this one scene. So we're going to bring that down to the marker view. We're going to mark this space. And then we're going to go to the next space.
That is the belief that the only thing that matters is what you do after you get your credit card, not before. That's a terrible misconception that even prevents some from getting a line of credit.
Okay, so we're going to mark this space as our second scene.
Building credit is the act of managing your finances correctly, even if you don't have a credit card.
Okay, we're going to mark this as our third scene.
This includes paying your bills on time, your loans, purchases you've made, all that stuff.
We're going to mark this space. And we're going to go through one more period here, and we're going to mark one more space.
Let's discuss the first implications of paying bills on time.
Okay, so we actually have 4 spaces, and if we were going to do this honestly, we probably would say that we would probably cut this to make a 6th scene. So we probably have now 6 scenes for our audio. So what we're going to do now is we're going to decide on keywords for each scene. So what we're going to do is draw the cursor back to the beginning. We're going to open up our notepad file, and then we're just going to choose keywords for each of the scenes. So let's make this smaller. And then we're going to start the player here again.
There's a big misconception among many young people, especially those coming out of college.
Okay, so we've got some keywords. Maybe we want to do misconception, college for the first. Then what we're going to do is go to the next scene, and we're going to start the play again.
That is the belief that the only thing that matters is what you do after you get your credit card.
Okay, so we're going to decide to use after credit card. So let's go to scene number 3.
Not before. Well, that's a terrible misconception that even prevents some from getting a line of credit.
Okay, so we'll say prevent getting a line of credit. We're going to go to the next one.
Building credit is the act of managing your finances correctly, even if you don't have a credit card.
Okay, so you're getting the idea. What we're doing is we are choosing keywords that we're going to use in order to gather our assets to our timeline. So in this particular case, we're going to look for misconception in college. We're going to look for after and credit card. We're going to look for prevent and line of credit or loan. And we're now going to use this keyword list in order to draw assets to the timeline. So we'd start with misconception in college. So now we've designed our first scene. As you can see, misconception in college with words and then this image. And we're going to go through the same list of keywords throughout the entire audio, and we're going to design our scenes. Now, once we've designed all the scenes in the very same way, it'll then be time to bring the audio into the video creation software. But before we do that, there is a step that we're going to need to take, and we'll discuss that in the next video. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to take another look at the audio that we were working with. And what you're going to notice about this audio right in this section is that the narrator actually made it easy for us. And you can see it on the timeline where he paused, and you can see that gap right in this area. You can see the gap here. You can see another gap here. You can see another gap here. And this actually made it easy for us to create scenes. However, what if the narrator did not do that? Is there something that you could do? Well, of course, you could actually do this. And one of the things that you could do is you could actually split a particular space, and you can create a space. So what we would do is we would come to that space in the timeline where we would want the gap to be, and we'd actually create our own gap. So we would edit the audio, and with Camtasia, we would do that by splitting and then just creating a small gap. Right? You can actually make it smaller by stretching out the timeline and then closing the gap. So we'll stretch that back. Now what you'll notice then is that at every point at which we want there to be a short pause, we would actually create that pause here on the timeline. So if there was no gap here and we wanted one, well, we do the same thing here. What we do is we split, and then we would create a short gap. And what this would do is this would actually give us that break that we would need in order to create our scenes. And once again, this particular narrator made it easy for us by doing some natural breaks, but you will not always get that if you're going to use the audio. And if you like to use the audio as is, you can actually go into that audio and then create your own gaps and create your own space. So now what we would do is we would actually first go to the library, and then we would try to find some royalty-free music. Now, one of the things that we can tell is that our clip is going to be about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Our music is probably not going to last long enough from the Camtasia library, so we would need to have some royalty-free music that either we purchased or that we downloaded from a service. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to grab some royalty-free music that we have from a service. You can use some royalty-free music that you either purchased or use one of the services. We're going to drag this full MP3 into the timeline. So now what we would do is we would draw our cursor back to the very beginning, and then we're going to pull our music down to the timeline. We would then take this audio and we would actually size it down or bring down the volume. So we want to bring that volume down to the point where it doesn't overpower the actual voiceovers. We've got the audio down. And of course, then the last thing we would do is we'd actually want to do some noise removal, although the music will take care of much of that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to briefly take this track off the timeline here. We're going to grab our audio and then we're going to do a little noise removal. Now what we would need to do if we'd actually broken up this audio is we would need to actually do noise removal on each piece. Now we're not going to do that for the sake of time. We're just going to do noise removal on this one element. Right? You'll notice that this one is yellow, the other one is gray. You would need to do this with each piece if you've actually split the timeline. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to add back the music. And then we're just going to play our audio just to make sure that the volume is low enough.
There's a big misconception among many young people, especially those coming out of college.
Okay, that may not be the right music, but I think you get the idea. We could probably stand to turn the volume down a little more. I'm going to turn that down even more. So once again, we don't want the music to overpower the message.
There's a big misconception among many young people.
Okay, so we now have an audio that is complete. We want to go to the end of the audio. This audio is extending past the time, so we're just going to cut this audio. And then we're going to now go ahead and produce our MP3 to be taken into the timeline. And in Camtasia, all we would need to do is to go to the produce and share, and then use our MP3 setting. Then the audio would start to produce.
Among many young
then that audio is going to auto play when
college.
it is complete.
That is the belief.
We're going to close that out. We're we're going to open up our production folder, and there is our audio. So now what we can do is we can go to our video creation software, and we can actually upload this audio to the timeline. And every video creation software is going to be a little different. In Video Scribe, what we would do is we'd actually select our track and we grab it from our hard drive. Okay, so now our audio is added to our page, and now we can begin to match our audio with our scenes. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, there could be a case where you find a PLR video, you actually like that video, but you want to turn it into an animated video. So what we would do is we would drag that video into our video editing software. What we're going to do is we're going to open up our video editing software. And we're going to pull that video down to the timeline. And so in most cases, you're probably going to have video where you like the audio, but you want to make that video more engaging, so you want to either have a drawing hand or you want to have some animation in it. So what we're going to do here is we're first going to separate the video and audio tracks. So now that both are on separate tracks, we're going to go through the process now of creating our keywords and our scenes. This is going to be a little easier than when we were using audio. And the main reason is because we actually have information here. So we would choose our space based on the audio. So you'll see there we've got a gap there, but we're going to choose the words that we see in the slide. So we could actually choose these words and use them as our keyword. And in this case, it would be a good idea to use the marker view. And then we would mark each area. Okay, so let's hide the marker view again. And then let's come over to this gap. We're going to show our marker view, and then we're going to mark this area also. And what we're doing here is we are deciding on where our break is going to be, where our slides are going to be, and then we're going to go back to these areas in order to choose our keywords. And we can choose the keywords now based on the visuals that are already there. We might find something in our video creation software that will draw this just as well, or we might find something that would be close to that or use fewer words. Basically though, we're going to have an easier time choosing our keywords based on the visuals that are present. Now, once we've created our keywords, we can then do away with the video. We can do that in our video creation software by going down to this timeline, and then we can just delete the video. We're going to take our keyword list now, and we're going to go to our video creation software to design scenes. We can also do, of course, now is we can actually add in music to this track. And we're not going to do that in this particular video, but you've already seen now how we can pick royalty-free music. We can add it to this timeline, and then we can reproduce this audio. And then, of course, once the audio is produced, we can then drag it into our video creation software. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are looking at the interface of the animated video creator called My Simple Show. It's fairly new relative to some of the others that are on the market. And we've said that for the most part, the animated video creators are primarily the same. However, My Simple Show is different in some ways that are significant. Now you'll notice that when we start the project, and we're going to go ahead and just write in a project name here. And what you're going to notice is that what My Simple Show asks you for is either your script or your PowerPoint file. And if you have a PowerPoint file, what you can do is you can actually upload that PowerPoint file as it is to My Simple Show. So we're going to go ahead and add a PowerPoint file to My Simple Show. When we do that, My Simple Show will start the processing. Then it'll give you a wizard. We're going to click Let's Start. What you're going to notice is that the video creator has actually taken your slides and it has turned it into a script of sorts. And so you can actually use your script and upload it directly to the video creator and have some of the process already started for you. Now you can actually change some of the words in your script at a specific point, but what you have is your script already inside of the video creator and it's already ready to go. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to go to the next step because that's the most important part. And we're going to click the Choose Visual button. And so the software will actually do a calculation and then it'll actually look for images for you. So we're going to click That Sounds Great here. Now My Simple Show is a cloud-based operation. So this software actually operates in the cloud and you are going to have an account if you choose to use this video creator. But what it does is it actually gives you part of the process which is already done for you. And you're going to notice that it actually has taken your script and it has started the process for you by putting some images in there. And if you've already gathered your images, this is going to be helpful to you because you can actually go inside of each image. And we're going to take just a minute so that you can see what happens. Now what we can do is we can change this image to text. We can change this image to one that we have on our hard drive, or we can change this image to something that we have used before. And we can actually change this image to something that is part of the inventory inside of My Simple Show. Okay, now we can actually close out this part. We can go back. And we can make something different into a keyword, or we can use an existing keyword. So basically, what My Simple Show does is it actually puts images onto the canvas for you, and it gives you the opportunity to work with a canvas that is already done for you. And of course, once you've gone through this and you have laid out all of your images, what you can do is you can actually choose specific audio for your video. Now, of course, what you could do is you could actually use the voice. It's a robotic voice inside of My Simple Show. We would not do that, of course. What we would do is we would add in our own voiceover. But like all of the other video creators, you can record your audio using your script and reading it or narrating it. And then you can also upload an audio that is already done, as well as adding in some music if you choose not to use a voiceover at all. Now the current pricing at My Simple Show is a little more expensive than some of the others, as you can see, depending on when you are seeing this video. Of course, you would want to remove the watermark, and so this is the area that you would be looking at in order to do your business videos. What you're paying for here is you're paying for a little more convenience in terms of the process. But again, what matters is how much you're going to use this and whether or not this is going to be part of your business to produce these kinds of videos. The additional payment on a monthly basis is really saving you time and maybe even saving you from having to get an outsourcer to do some of the work. Okay, so that is the My Simple Show website and video creator, and as we've said, it is a little different and can help you depending on how you want to create your videos. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.